What is the biggest thing that stops a sales team from being highly, highly effective, being at their absolute best? Well, here's the answer. If you want a highly effective sales team and you've got a great product and the marketing's right and you know it can sell, now it's down to your salespeople to do the job. If you want them to be highly effective, make sure that your teams are not managed by your best salesperson. This is when it goes very, very wrong. Make sure that you do not employ your best salesperson and promote your best salesperson to be sales manager unless they are equally skilled as a manager. It does seem sensible and that natural progression for both the salesperson and for the person, the sales director or the CEO to say, this person's brilliant. Their results are above everybody else's. Let's bring them in and make sure that way they do it rubs off on everybody else so we can then duplicate the results. It seems a very sensible thing to do, but it's flawed thinking and it's almost the industry cliche. And I've spoken to so many people just this year who are struggling as sales managers, even though they were the best salesperson in the company. But the interesting thing is actually, I think 90% of the people who I've spoken to this year about this problem, that they're struggling as a sales manager when they were their best salesperson, they don't tell their boss that they're struggling. They come to me privately and quietly because they don't want to tell their boss that they're struggling as a sales manager. And this is the reason. Salespeople and sales managers think completely differently. They have completely different ways of thinking. Managers think differently from non-managers. So I need to talk to you a little bit about the Genius Zone model I use. This is my version of the Genius Zone. It's very simple. When I've been working with people over the years, I've come to the conclusion that there are just three ways of thinking about business. Some people are innovators, they're creative, they come up with ideas, they come up with new products, new businesses, they're innovators. Some people are workers, naturally, and they enjoy doing a good job. And this is about how much people enjoy what they're doing. It's about what they love to do, not skills, because you can be in all of these zones and have skills as an innovator or manager or worker. This is about what they love to do. So my Genius Zone model is based on what people prefer to do. So as workers, some people, they love the job of what they do, the skills they have, the knowledge they have, and apply it to that particular thing they're doing. So some people are brilliant workers. They have amazing skills and knowledge. They produce brilliant results, but they never want to create or innovate something. They never want to turn it into a business. They want to be employed doing a particular job, for example. Innovators love creating, as I said. It could be systems, it could be processes, it could be new products, marketing campaigns, it could be businesses, could be anything. They love innovating, love creating. But managers, they love being in control of things, and not in a bad way. This is in a good way. So some managers like to control the systems they've been told to control. They've been employed, this is the system, make sure it works. It may be being in control of people, making sure that people are working at their best. So you can have people managers and you can have systems managers. Not everybody is both. And then some people, as you see, they're going higher up towards the innovator zone, it crosses over. They're good at creating systems. They're good at inventing processes that help businesses scale and be efficient. So what you have when you are looking at usually the best sort of salesperson is most successful salespeople are worker innovators. They love the job of being a salesperson. They love coming up with better ways of being able to sell. So they study it. They have new ideas. They love the work of selling. So they're on the right-hand side. Now, this is a generalization, but the vast majority of good, successful salespeople are on the worker side, and the best ones usually are getting into the innovator zone where they love creating new ideas. They don't just follow a formula, they make the form, they create the new formula. So they like using their skills to maximize sales in this way. Whereas natural managers are happiest when they're creating control through processes and people on the management side. So they're using their management thinking, the control thinking, systems thinking, process thinking. And I use the word natural managers very deliberately. So a natural manager is someone who just thinks in this way: processes, control, systems. They may be someone who naturally creates these processes, but they think like this without training. This is the important thing. They already think this way. Whereas a worker thinks in the way of a worker, and the innovator is naturally creative. So what happens is, and this happens through all businesses in all sectors, not just sales, that the best workers, either because they have the expertise of their technical knowledge or sales or whatever they're really good at, then gets promoted to be the manager of that department. And then they may not be natural managers at all. So what happens is 50% of people in a management role naturally don't think like a manager needs to. They just don't think that way, but they've been promoted because they wanted the increase in salary, or they wanted to be able to progress their career, or they've been asked to do this by their company because, hey, you know this, you're really the best salesperson. Come along and make sure everybody else in the team can do the same as you. Or you're the best technical person. Please run this team because we need your technical knowledge as the manager. So what happens is a lot of people go from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, and they're not people who naturally think like managers, and most of the time they don't get any training. So what you've got is someone who's really at their best in their genius zone, and they get taken to their least valuable zone. So what happens in the genius zone is we have a preference. Usually have a first preference. Most people have a second, and the third one is their least favorite. Remember I talked about it, about being what you like to do. So if all you have to do is, when you're plotting people, and I do this with people when we're building teams and helping managers lead a team, we look at where someone really loves to be. Then we also look at how much time they spend doing that sort of thinking and that sort of work. But when we look at when they're working at their absolute best, the opposite part of the zone is the third preference, which is the thing they don't like to do. And that's why 50% of people who are managers actually don't like being managers. They don't think like managers. They never had training to be a manager. And often, guess what? They often fail. So newly appointed managers, and I work with a lot of managers and not newly appointed who really never understood why they dislike management so much. There may be a much better leader. They may be on a brilliant leader, but a terrible manager because of this. They just don't think and enjoy managing. So results suffer, morale suffers, targets we miss, team members leave because they're not being managed well. And then what happens? These people want to go back to what they're most successful at, they enjoyed most, which is then they go back to being a salesperson. And I literally helped somebody deal with this problem last week. They were promoted into being a manager because they were so good at what they did. They were under so much pressure. They felt really bad because they were failing, and the company didn't like it because they were failing. They actually left and went to a job when they went back to being a solo salesperson again. But what we have identified is that they are not a natural manager. They are an innovative worker who, when they learn how to lead and manage, they can make that transition. So it's not the fault of your highly skilled workers. It's the fact that the system says, oh, it's time for you to be a manager, or they want more money because they need more, through having more responsibility, or the company says, you are the best person we've got. Please lead this team or run this team. So this applies to every business sector, not just sales. So to get the best out of your manager, whether it's a sales manager or your technical manager, in any way, shape or form, it's essential they're using the right skills at the right time. And as I said, you need the skills training, even if you are not a natural manager. Natural managers, they can greatly be helped because they already think this way. And then when they get skills training in how to be a leader and manager for the first time, you've got an incredibly valuable person. But if you do need to move somebody over who is technically the best salesperson or the best technical person in that team, you do need them over there. Please train them so they have a chance. Please train them so they actually have a chance of being able to think and behave like a manager. Because the reason they're so successful is because they're naturally better at other things. And sometimes it's also really useful to make sure they get a career pathway that suits them and they never go anywhere near managing teams at all. So if you are thinking, this is why I am not doing well as a manager, I not naturally think like a manager, I haven't had any training as a manager, or you're thinking, I've got some managers in my team who I can see now why they're failing, please just get in contact. There's many variations of why this happens. There's many options of solutions, but there are solutions to this problem. Because sometimes we do need to take people who are not natural management thinkers into the management side, but support them, help them. And we can do that very quickly because we understand how people think and why sometimes people are reluctant to actually behave like managers, even though they've got the title. So if you're curious, if you think, I've probably got 4 or 5 people like this and I don't know where to start, we can help. If it's you thinking, I want to have the responsibility, I want to go up the career ladder, I want to progress my career, but I can just realize now I'm not a natural manager. I've never had the management training. Get in contact too. We can offer solutions to all ranges and problems. We've done it for many, many years. This is what we're good at. And we just like to make sure that people and their teams work at their best. And often the solutions are quite simple. First thing you've got to do is just raise your hand and say, I think we've got a problem. Stephen, help. Anyway, I hope this has been useful to you and I'll speak to you soon. And get in touch because we can solve these problems very quickly. It's a totally fixable problem, I promise you.